semifinals of light heavyweight already. I want to take a look back really quick and see if I could find the results here. See what I missed. Long night of trick-or-treating daughter. Let's see. Yusupov. Yeah, I see that. Oh, shit. My boy lost. Teller lost, too? What the fuck? Shorty versus Vasily. Nemkov lost. Gosselin lost. Magliaitis got knocked out by Yusupov. Teller lost by unanimous decision. Derek got knocked out. Ishii lost the decision. Alex Nicholson lost his decision. Now we have Jordan Johnson versus Rashid Yusupov. Emilio Sordi versus Bozakatit Ativ. Jared Rasho versus Francisco Barroso. And Dennis Gosselin versus Ali Azzev. Mad hard names in the light heavyweight division. But we're here, guys. It's fucking Thursday night. I'm dressed like the fucking Grinch. My hat's a little messed up. Got green skin everywhere. Can't really see it that well. But we're here, and we're going to do predictions for the UFC 244 card. I just want to touch on those. Diaz and put my damn shirt clothes. I got a Christmas hat on during fucking Halloween. But the Diaz drama that happened, he USADA tried to say that he popped, and he really didn't pop. So there's that. What's that? What's the matter? Then there's the Darren Till was denied his visa, wasn't able to fly to New York from Liverpool until today. I guess like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock or so. He got a 9-hour flight to New York, so he's got. If he has, I would assume he would have already started cutting weight, even though he's not welterweight anymore. He's a middleweight, so it should be a little easier for him. But if he hadn't started cutting weight already, he's only got not even 24 hours, a little under 24 hours since he got down to New York to cut the weight. I would think he started cutting already, but that's just my opinion. The main card starts off Kevin Lee versus Gregor Gillespie. Lee 17-5, 10-4 in the UFC. He's on a 2-fight losing streak at the moment. He lost a decision to Alan Quinta in December of last year. Tried to come back from that, and he fought, I believe, Rafael dos Anjos in May. He lost his decision there. He's got wins over Edson Barboza, Michael Chiesa, which is kind of an asterisk because although he did have a deep choke in, Chiesa was kind of relaxing, trying to sink his shoulders up, get out of the choke, and no sign of him going to sleep, no sign of a tap, and the referee stopped it. I think it was a premature stoppage. I think, if anything, they should try to mark those, no contest when those happen, but hey, they don't. So Edson Barboza, Michael Chiesa, Francisco Trinaldo, Jake Matthews, good middle of the tier fighters. I don't really see any of the top guys there. Same with Gillespie, though. He hasn't fought any of the top guys, but he is 13-0, 11 out of 13 of his wins are finishes, 6 knockouts, 5 submissions, 6-0 in the UFC. He's beat. His most recent fight was a TKO win over Yancy Medeiros. That's probably his most highest profile fight is Yancy Medeiros. So, you could kind of say a little bit that that's a big name, but as big as you make it, really, In that fight, I got Gillespie. I think it's going to be a wrestler versus a wrestler matchup. Gillespie, in my opinion, is the better wrestler. I'm not going to try to go into who's going to win the stand-up because, you kind of never know with these fights. They probably will try to come in and stand up for a good little bit just to, feel each other out and try to see who's going to be the first guy to go for a takedown. Maybe I don't need to do a takedown, whatever. But I think Gregor Gillespie is going to beat Kevin Lee in pretty much every aspect of the fight. And if Kevin Lee has any chance of winning, it's kind of going to be like a lucky punch or like, just a mistake on Gillespie's part so he could sink in a choke or something like that. But I think for the most part, it's going to be all Gregor Gillespie in that one. Boxer versus boxer, we got Derek Lewis versus Vladimir Ivanov. Derek Lewis, power puncher, Ivanov, a very technical, good boxer standing in the pocket. Lewis, 21-7, is on a 2-fight losing streak at the moment. He got subbed by DC. That was November of 2018. That was for the title. And then he got knocked out by Junior Dos Santos back in March. 18 out of his 21 wins are via knockout or TKO. 4 out of 7 of his losses are via knockout or TKO. So he's kind of one of those guys, you live by the knockout, you die by the knockout. He's got wins over, Travis Brown, Marcin Tybura, Alexander Volkov, Roy Nelson, Gabriel Gonzaga. Ivanov 18-2, 12 finishes, 6 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's never been knocked out. He's on a 2-fight winning streak with decisions over Tai Tuivasa and Ben Rothwell. 2-1 in the UFC. He's a former World Series of Fighting / PFL champion. He was the champion for, I guess, he had 3 or 4 or 5 defenses in World Series of Fighting. PFL or World Series of Fighting turned into PFL, or it was bought out, one of the two. He came in. I guess they had like a tournament or just a vacated heavyweight title bout, and he won that. So he won the title there, and then that was his last fight before coming to the UFC. Boxer versus boxer. I think, Alex Nicholson. Barroso is unable to continue, so Alex Nicholson, although he lost his decision, is getting ready. He will be coming out to fight in the next round. That's great. That's amazing news for me. I love Alex Nicholson. I wish him the best in this next fight. It's going to be awesome. What was I talking about? Lewis. Oh, he took some time off, man. He's been off since March, since the knockout Junior Dos Santos. He's had a lot of time to, kind of try just get in there. Nicholson fighting again. He's got a lot of time to figure it out, to get in there and train hard, and figure out how he's going to get this next win in the win column. He's had a back and forth, but he's beat a old Ben Rothwell, and I believe who was the other person? Tai Tuivasa, who was on, I think, a losing streak at the time, if I'm not mistaken, 1 2 fight losing streak at the time of him being defeated by decision to Ivanov. I got the power puncher, man. I like to see knockouts, and Derek Lewis has a lot of power in those hands. If Ivanov tries to box with him, I kind of see like a lot of possibilities where Ivanov could get sat down a couple times. And it's only a 3-round fight, so I don't see it's not like the Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis situation where they got 5 rounds to get tired and lay all over each other and shit like that. And I think it's going to be a good bit of power in the beginning, and if somebody doesn't get knocked out in the first round, it's probably going to be a slower fight, second or third round. But I could still see Derek Lewis edging out a decision, even though I think Ivanov has the better boxing. I think Derek Lewis will land more of his strikes, and he will land more power strikes. So that's just my opinion there. Stephen Thompson, Vicente Luque. World-class kickboxer coming off his first knockout loss of his career. Vicente Luque, power. He's got power. He loves to brawl. He's got his last win was that fight of the night against Mike Perry, where he broke Perry's nose. Looked like right at the end of the fight. 17-6-1 for Luque. Like I said, he's never been knocked out. 14 out of 17 of his wins are via finish, 9 knockouts, 6 submissions. And he has 2 losses in the UFC. Those losses are to Michael Graves very early in his career. I think second fight, one of the tough finales. And then Leon Edwards is currently on a 6-fight winning streak, which includes wins or submission win over Nico Price, knockouts over Chad Laprice, Jalen Turner, and Brian Barberina, and Derek Krantz. And then a split decision win over Mike Perry, which we just talked about, was the fight of the night. I think that was Uruguay, our co-main event of the Valentina Shevchenko card. Thompson's 14-4. Like I say, he's only been finished by that knockout of Anthony Pettis knocked him out. When was that? Fucking March, May, somewhere in there, somewhere in that general timeline. Right now, he's on a 2-fight losing streak with that loss to Pettis, and then before that, he lost the decision to Darren Till. He has wins over Jorge Masvidal, Rory McDonald, Johnny Hendricks, and Robert Whitaker. When Robert Whitaker was back at I think welterweight. Was Robert Whitaker at welterweight or was fucking Thompson at middleweight? I can't remember. I'm not gonna look it up. My one point here is that Thompson coming off his first knockout win is going to be more of that. He's going to have even more of a karate stance than he normally does. I believe he's going to be trying to stay away from the power punches. Luque, who's seen how to knock out Stephen Thompson, should be trying to, do those kind of like Superman entry type of punches to get in there on Wonder Boy, because he stands so far back, because he leans so far back. But I think that Stephen Thompson just has way too many tools to edge out a decision against Luque. Again, 3-round fight. We're not going to be able to see who's got the better cardio or anything, so I don't think that's going to be a factor. I think Stephen Thompson's a far better kickboxer than Vicente Luque, and as long as he can keep Vicente Luque on the outside, I think it's going to be a long night for Luque, and I'm going to give that to Stephen Thompson by decision. Which brings us to the co-main event. Darren Till, who we just talked about, against Kelvin Gastelum, however you say his name. Gastelum welcomes Till to the middleweight division, coming out of the welterweight. He's 15-4-1. That one no contest comes from a TKO win over Vitor Belfort that was overturned because he tested positive for marijuana after that fight. You saw to turn that into a no contest. His most recent interim championship title fight was against the now champion Israel Adesanya that he lost. It was a war fight of the night type situation. That's fucking crazy that Barroso is not able to continue. He won the fight, but he's not able to continue. And Alex Nicholson is, yet he won. It's weird. It's just weird how shit works like that now. And, it's going to be really, really fucked up if Alex Nicholson can't get in here against Russell, because in the preview before the PFL started, he had gone on record saying, he was good friends with Muhammad Darius. And it's going to be a crazy fight if him and Darius fight. He said if Darius ends up losing to Jared Roshold, there's no chance in this world he ever loses a fight to Jared Roshold. So, I don't know, man. Let's see how it goes. That's some big, steep words. Hold on. What's with these? How the fuck am I supposed to know? Let's see. Gastelum until 10 out of 15 of his wins are via finish. He's never been knocked out as far as Gastelum goes. Till is leaving welterweight, like we just said, 2-fight losing streak, getting knocked down and submitted by Woodley for the belt, and then getting knocked out by Masvidal brutally. Get back on track. By Masvidal on March 17, 2-1. 10 out of 17 of his wins are via knockout. His top UFC wins include Donald Cerrone, decision over Wonder Boy, draw, which was a fight of the night with Nicholas Dalby. I got Till. The smart choice would be to go with Gastelum, but I have to go with Till just because I want Till to win that bad. And I'd have to go for Till. He's got that long range boxing. We've never seen him at middleweight. Hopefully, he's got a lot more gas in his system at middleweight. If he's got more gas, I could see him lasting with Kelvin Gastelum. If he could stuff a takedown, I could definitely see him piecing up Gastelum up top. He's definitely got a lot more length than Gastelum, so you could keep him on the outside if he opts to do so. I just think that the smarter choice would be Gastelum, but I'm going to go with Darren Till anyway, via knockout, via Kelvin Gastelum's first time getting knocked out in his career. Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal for the bad motherfucker title will be the main event. Just want to give a little shout out to Masvidal, who has the same birthday as me. He's probably like 15 years older than me, but on November 12th, Masvidal's birthday, 34-13, 15 out of 34 of his wins via knockout. He's only been knocked out once. He's on a 2-fight winning streak that includes Darren Till and that very impressive knockout over Ben Askren, the fastest knockout in UFC history, flying knee where he ran across the cage. He's been in the UFC since 2013, 11-6 in the UFC. Diaz 20-11. His most recent fight was the return fight against Pettis, where it was a long, drawn-out decision win. He beat the shit out of Pettis the entire fight. 3 years off before that fight in the McGregor fights. He's been in the UFC since 2007. He's 15-9 in the UFC. 12 out of 20 of his wins are via submission. He was great on the ground. He's only been finished twice, a TKO by Josh Thompson, which was a head kick back in April 2013, and a submission by Hermes Franca back in the WEC days, 2006. So, it's been a long time since Diaz has been finished. How does Masvidal fare when the fight goes to a decision? He lost the decision against Stephen Thompson. I believe Alan Quinty lost the decision to. It might have been a knockout. I'm not sure. But, when the fight goes to a decision, when the fight is drawn out, when the fight is 5 rounds long, does he get tired? What happens, let's see. I got Diaz. I'll go Diaz every fight. There's only a slim few people that I can even think about possibly rooting against Diaz for. And I don't even know if I would then. It's one of my favorite fighters right there, Nate Diaz. And whether it's biased or not, I'm going to go Nate Diaz. Via decision probably is going to be my guess there. The card also features Corey Anderson versus Johnny Walker, Shane Burgos versus Makawan Amarikani, Brad Tavares versus Edmund Shabazian. It's got Jennifer Maia on it, Andrei Arlovsky, Layman Good. It's going to be a great card. Yeah, man, it's going to be a great card. It's a Saturday night. It's going to be one hell of a thing. I know it's crazy sitting here listening to the Grinch talk about UFC and MMA and shit like that, but hey, Grinch knows what the fuck he's talking about. I went 8-3 on the Singapore card. I think the 3 fights I got wrong were I can't even think about which ones they were. I know it was like the second fight of the night, the chick fight. That was one of them. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but 8-3, man, it's pretty good. I think the least amount of losses I've had on a card of 2. I'm trying to get a card where I go undefeated. That's going to be pretty amazing once I finally do that. But until then, man, maybe this is the card. Maybe UFC 244 is the card. Everybody make sure to watch. I believe it's going to be on ESPN Plus, and then pay-per-view would be the main card. So make sure you pay your $60, whatever. If not, if you guys want to subscribe to my channel, hit me up in a DM, personal message me, maybe on YouTube or Instagram, Twitter, whatever the case is. I will send you a link so you do not have to pay that money. As long as you don't snitch on me. If you snitch on me, then you're going to get blocked and shit. So it is what it is. UFC 244 coming up. Island fights, I don't know what they're on, 61, I think. Impact Kazanagi is going to be fighting Andre Hall. That's a good one that's coming up pretty soon. A lot of great UFC fights to end the year. Conor McGregor's coming back January 15th, I think it is. Donald Cerrone, I believe, is the targeted opponent. So everybody keep your eyes out. Conor McGregor's coming back. They had the bullshit with Nate Diaz. My thought process when the Nate Diaz thing happened was the same day that Conor McGregor announced his return. So my thought process was they're just pulling Diaz so that he could fight McGregor in January, but didn't happen. Diaz is fighting Masvidal. It still works out. I mean, win or lose, he could still fight Conor whenever he's done fighting Cerrone, or if they want to take the fight from Cerrone and give it to Diaz, they could do that too, because I'm sure Diaz will be ready by January. It's October. It's like November, December, January. I mean, maybe not. Maybe he doesn't want, but he just did that turnaround. He just fought in like August or some shit 2 months ago. So who knows? Until next time, guys, I don't think we're doing anything this weekend, so it's going to be next Thursday. I think they skipped weeks for PFL, so I don't think the PFL will be back. We will have Thursday Night Football. We'll be doing previews for – so I'm going to check it right now. We're doing previews for Moscow, Dos Santos versus Volkov, which is not Dos Santos versus Volkov anymore. It is Greg Hardy versus Volkov, with the main event being Zabit Magomed Sharapov and plus 160 on Diaz last week. Then his cardio is enough for me. Hell yeah, man. I fuck with that shit. He can be an underdog. It's pretty insane, in my opinion. I know, Masvidal's track record and shit like that, but everybody forgets about Diaz's track record just because he's been gone for 3 years. He didn't want to fight. He basically took a vacation for 3 years, so people think, oh, they just discredit everything he did before that, his cardio, his boxing, pretty much everything. It's pretty insane to me, but I fuck with that, Pablo. That was a good input that you had there. Plus 160. How you going to turn down Diaz on plus 160? I'm pretty sure he's underdog in the fucking Pettis fight. Beat the fuck out of Pettis the whole fight. Yeah, pretty decent fight going on here in Moscow. I think it's probably going to be an early one, so we probably won't do anything for that. I mean, we might actually. I don't know. It depends. I'll let you know on Thursday if we're going to be doing something for that Moscow card, but I'm pretty positive we won't. I mean, check the YouTube. Maybe we're doing something this Saturday, but I doubt it. So until next Thursday, the Grinch is out. Everybody have a good night. Make sure you tune in for 2:44 on Saturday, guys.